What's up, dog?
Yo.
Yo.
How you doing? Welcome to Benny's podcast. I'm your guest, Felipe Dupoy. What if I did it the whole time like that?
That'd be great.
Like I pretended I was the host.
You could actually. Do you have an intro? You could do an intro.
I mean,
Welcome
that was
to
it.
Raisin Man Arena.
Welcome to Benny's podcast. I'm your guest, Felipe Dupoy, and your host. And we're here with your host, Benny Feldman.
That's right. And I'm Benny Feldman, host of Benny Feldman's podcast.
What's the podcast called?
Benny Feldman's podcast.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Nice, very nice. That's a good name.
I said Raisin Man Arena before because Felipe hosts a podcast called Raisin Man Arena.
That's right.
Where did you get that name from?
Well, actually, I was gonna say real quick. Isn't it funny that your podcast isn't called the Benny Cast? And I was just thinking about how podcasts aren't called things like the Benny Cast anymore. Do you know what I'm saying? Like something cast.
Is that what era is that from?
I think early era. I used to listen to
I'm still doing my podcast voice.
Huh?
We slipped into it.
We can do the podcast voice. Kevin Smith had a podcast called the Smodcast, and I used to listen to it. That was the first podcast I ever listened to.
Huh.
You know Kevin Smith?
Yeah, the film guy. Yes,
Clerks.
I liked Clerks. Yeah, hell yeah. I think that's the only one I've seen. I take it back. I think I've seen some of the other ones.
Which ones? Chasing Amy?
That's the one, and then Dogma.
Dogma?
Dogma was cool. That's where Buddy Jesus is from, right?
I don't remember. I saw it a long time ago. I used to be a big head. Jane Silent Bob Strike Back, Clerks 2.
Oh, sure. I haven't seen those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I forgot what Dogma is even about.
I think it's like, it's a parody of religion in a variety of ways.
Damn. He went there.
I forget what
the madman did it.
What's it called? The Smodcast. What's the?
Because he did it. He did it with a guy named.
Please burp into the mic.
Oh. He did it with a guy named something Mosier, which I guess is some collaborator of his, and so it was Smith Mosier, the Smodcast. Smooth.
Oh, okay.
But anyways, that's just to say that back in the early days of podcasting,
we can combine your names, Felipe, and my name,
and Benny
Feldman, and call it the Feldman Podcast.
That's pretty good.
F-E.
The Feldman Podcast.
Felipe.
The Feldcast.
Yeah.
The Feldcast Dupoy.
Oh, that's cool.
Well, back when podcasts first started, the word podcast was still new, and people still thought of it as two separate words: pod and cast.
Huh. What the fuck is that? What does it mean? Oh, like broadcast, but instead of broadcast.
That I hadn't even thought of that.
And broadcast, that was when women would do a podcast.
That's right. It was when exactly. That's right. Back in the old days, big legs, long legs. Anyways, what was your question? Raisin Man. Raisin Man. How did I come up with that?
Oh yeah.
Well, so Raisin Man Arena is the podcast I do with my friends Sarah and Sam, and before it was a podcast, it was a live show. We did these live shows where the concept was that we'd have a big party afterwards. We were like, this is going to be like a cool, vibey show. You come, and then there's like a DJ, and we're going to play cool music. And so that was what it was. And I proposed the name Raisin Man Chronicles. I just thought that was funny. It sounded like a sci-fi movie. It was like a funny, weird name to give a show.
Was somebody implied to be the Raisin Man?
No, I just thought it was... No. It was just Raisin Man Chronicles.
Was it? So it's not from it. Just like a series of words that you've like.
It was just a series of words.
Cool,
yeah.
Cool.
In fact, Sarah runs a space called Life World in Gowanus.
Right.
Life World
very
was
fun space.
Yeah, Life World was one of the names that we came up with.
Oh,
for
really?
that show that we did.
Oh.
And she just really liked the name and kept it for a different thing. But then that we really liked this other.
So there's an alternate universe where.
Raisin Man Arena is called Life World,
and people will be like, "Oh, I'm performing later at Raisin Man."
Yeah, well,
performing in the arena.
That's another thing is that there was this venue called Shea Stadium, which I never went to, but it wasn't a stadium; it was like a music venue. But we thought it was funny that they would call it Shea Stadium. It's like kind of tongue in cheek, so we wanted something like that. So we thought, arena. We call it an arena. So we combined these two names.
Oh, I see. Yeah, arenas. It makes me think of both like. I guess like a sports arena, but also like kind of a battle space.
Yeah, gladiator.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm thinking like raisins.
Duking it out. Yeah, fighting, killing each other.
Like a huge grape rolls in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a big apple.
Who would win a fight, a raisin or a grape? Because a raisin's been through more adversity.
It's true, and a raisin is like condensed. It's
Yeah.
faster, more lean.
Yeah.
The grape is fat. Yeah.
But still has that youthful energy, so it could still overpower the raisin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No, but I like, it's like they used to like let lions out into the. Well, look, follow me with this concept.
Oh, yeah.
They used to let lions out to the gladiators. Then, it's orange.
Oh, yes. I'm an orange. I was also thinking of just like letting like a dog or something. Like
Oh, I guess it could be a real animal. That's
like
true. That's true.
eats
Or a
the
rat.
raisins.
A
Yeah,
little
a rat.
rat.
Little fucking like a hermit crab.
Yeah, that could be funny
An
too.
orange is cool.
Orange would be
And
funny.
You peel it in some capacity that looks like a mane.
Yes, that's interesting.
Yeah.
If
So I was just thinking, sometimes like people do like weirdly specific art stuff.
mm-hmm.
They'll be like you'll go on like TikTok and they'll be like somebody who knows how to make like fucking like sea to look like the Little Mermaid or something. You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah, these funny crafts with like a very specific medium.
Yeah. Which also reminds me of
Mhm.
your mukbang video.
Yeah.
I should say Felipe is not just a podcaster. Why the fuck would I have a fucking podcaster on the
I know.
podcast? Jesus Christ. Who gives a fuck about podcasts?
I feel the same way. I feel the same way.
Felipe also does a bunch of comedy and really funny like stuff with sketch and animation and tweets. And he did a cool sketch recently with his group Simpletown. Where'd you get the name Simpletown?
Well, we got the name Simpletown because we actually really liked. So Simpletown's my sketch group. Sorry, you already said that maybe, but
Yes.
when we were coming up with the name, we really liked Wham City. You know Wham City?
Yes.
Alan Resnick and
yeah.
these other guys whose name isn't
They
coming
made
to me
some
right now.
Adult Swim stuff, like unedited footage of a bear.
That's right. And we kind of admired them, and we liked that name. So instead of city, it was town. And then, I don't know, something about Simple Town. It's kind of funny.
I'll tell you what. I don't think I actually give a shit about the etymology, but I do care about how'd you guys come up with the vibe?
What's the vibe?
You tell me.
The vibe of Simple Town?
Yeah, and I could also tell you, but
You tell me, because I think this is not a straightforward... not a
weird
straightforward-
dog shit outsider art.
I wish, man. I wish it felt like outsider art.
Kind of like Daniel Johnson. I'm sorry. Hi.
No, I loved it. I love Danny
No.
Johnson.
It's sort of the opposite. It's not insider art, but I was thinking that is actually a decent way to describe some of it, where it is making fun of certain tropes.
Interesting.
Where like one of the videos that I first saw you do was making fun of, like, you're doing satire of other online videos pretty often. One of them was like, we got to rise and grind, and like you had like long hair and like it was as if you're in a hype house.
Yeah,
essentially,
like
and
a influencer fitness house.
yes, and then everybody else in the background was also doing like the same exact shit, and it was like all this like weird chaotic overlapping. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very proud of that
I
video.
said, you know what I mean, and he
Yeah.
fucking hated it.
Yeah, I think I know what you're talking about.
But then the recent mukbang video was sort of looking at like what's going on behind these like influencers' lives, and then I'm thinking you had a recent one where you had like a busking video style one. You know what I mean? It's a lot of, I think you're doing parodies of other online content to some degree.
That's interesting. Yeah, I hadn't totally thought about it so consciously. And it's funny because our sketch show, when we do live sketch, I don't know if you've seen it recently, but like it's kind of about, this is kind of insufferable to say, but it's like all the sketches are like parodies of sketches a little bit, or like the way there was like one show in particular we were like, oh yeah, this show sort of becomes about a sketch show, because we're always like breaking character or sort of commenting on the sketch itself.
I'll say you're not doing it in an annoying meta like aren't we so smart kind of way. Like if you're a dumb idiot like myself, because I don't know too much about sketch, like if I'm watching your show or something, you're pulling everybody along with you. It's not like anybody's left out. They're not like, oh, what do they make? Are they getting meta? Fuck these nerds.
Yeah.
It's like you do it in like a fun way.
It's true. Yeah, I don't think it's cool to. I think meta is lame, and I think that you don't want to be smarty pants about it. But I do think, I don't know, the stuff I like to write is often like, I have this one sketch I really want to do, and we haven't done it yet, and I don't know if we can pull it off, but it's called the sexual tension sketch, and the idea is that someone comes out and goes, Caroline comes out and goes, me and Sam have a lot of sexual tension, and it's like really uncomfortable, because we're like, it's like always will they, won't they, and then you hear Sam off stage and he goes, honey, I'm home, and then Caroline goes, oh no, we're about to do the sketch about the married couple who never kisses, who always comes close to kissing. So then in the world of the sketch, the joke is that they're a married couple, but every time they're about to kiss, their mouths get like really close to each other.
And we know Caroline
and we've just been told that Caroline has this will they won't they thing with Sam, and so the premise of the sketch is totally preposterous, but the joke is supposed to, and then oh no, the sketch is called The Married Couple with Sexual Tension. And so the joke is that he's like, I'm home, honey, how was your day? And then they're about to kiss, and then their mouths come near each other, and it's like, and then they pull back. and then Sam would be like, or Caroline would be like, you don't know how much I want to kiss you. And then Sam would be like, yeah, if you only knew. And then, but he says it outside of the sketch, and then Caroline would be like, what? And he'd be like, yeah, if you only knew. So the idea being that if there's both tension outside of the sketch, but in the context, do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think it's maybe more interesting to explain than it is to
I think I would
maybe
still enjoy
do.
That. Well, you also it's coming to mind another one that I'm thinking like you do an improv, and it's kind of like improv for these corporate people.
Wait, yes. I have to amend the sketch one more time.
Shit, fuck.
What happens at the beginning is that Sam comes out and he says, I'm in love with Caroline, and she doesn't know it. That's what he says. And then they do this.
Is that within the sketch or outside?
That's outside of the sketch. And then the sketch is called The Married Couple with Sexual Tension. And then he's in love with her, and she doesn't. And she thinks they're doing a sketch, but he's actually in love with her. And the premise of the sketch brings them close to the point of making out. That's the sketch. It's like so complicated. I'm like, I don't even know people would laugh at this. No, like it's just interesting.
I think part of the fun of that is it is even though it is meta, like it's still relatable from an angle of like, you know, everybody's been like in a situation where it's like high school play, these two people have to kiss in the play,
right? And
there's that tension outside of it, and you're kind of making, you know what I mean, you're playing with that kind of thing,
right? But then the premise of the sketch is so silly, like why this? It's almost like the premise of the sketch is made to create an uncomfortable situation, right. And then in the there's actually a heightening where then the next scene, Will comes out and he goes, I want to kill Sam, and so I've hired Felipe to kill Sam in the next sketch. And then the premise of the next sketch is that I'm a neck massager, so I come in to do a neck massage, so that's basically like strangling him. But in the sketch, like the joke is that it's like I'm strangling him, but then you know that I'm actually about to kill him. I'm sorry, this is insane. I'm trying to explain this.
What is the third level where then off stage I actually know you personally, and I know that you have a deep disrespect for your peers.
Yeah, exactly.
So
that's
really
that meta. And
level. So your sketch cohort, they think you're doing a funny sketch where you want to kill them, but I personally, just me alone in the crowd, know that you're going to one day.
And you're having a chuckle to yourself.
I'm thinking, if only they knew Felipe's plot.
Yeah, exactly. Well, sorry, I interrupted you when you were about to ask about this other sketch.
Oh,
the corporate improv.
And also, you guys maybe pause the podcast and go check out some of Felipe's videos online so you can understand what the hell we're saying.
Yes. And pause the podcast.
And don't even come back.
You should pause the podcast and watch and go see the movie Badlands.
What's that?
It's by what's his name? I'm blanking on his name. But it's a beautiful film, and I think forget I even brought it up.
Okay.
Just go see it.
I don't know.
Terrence Malick.
Okay. I don't know who that is.
He's a director. I think he made a film called The Thin Blue Line.
Is that like when there's like one police officer?
Mm-hmm.
There's one cop in a small town.
And he's like, he's got to do a bunch of jobs. He's got to like do like traffic cop and stop crimes, and he's just like spread too thin.
And traffic cop stopping unarmed vehicles.
Yeah. Stop and frisk. All of it.
Shit, fucking hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I glimpsed down and saw your legs.
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
I'm wearing
short season, baby.
That's right.
That's what's up. Felipe skated here. How's skateboarding going?
It's going good. Started skateboarding in December.
And you've been really hammering at it.
Yeah, like every day I skate. I try to skate every day.
Okay. I hate to bring it back to comedy, and so I won't.
Please, no, please.
Oh, but just the idea of like, I find it hard to learn new stuff or like to care about too much of a new skill. Do you feel like you have the time? Do you feel like you're able to use little metaphors from it to bring back, or like, you know what I mean? How's it helping?
I think I'm like a lover of like a new hobby. I actually really like to learn new stuff.
I like forgetting things.
Yeah, that's another way you can do it. I mean, I definitely do forget things that I've learned.
I should say I like learning stuff, but not skills.
No, I love learning skills. Like,
okay.
Yeah, ever since I was like young, like, I mean, I did this the way I learned to draw, and the way I learned to play the guitar, and like all the different things that I do. Like, I really love to like go online and figure out the different ways that people learn about something, and figure out like little techniques. And then with skateboarding, like, I'm always watching little tutorial videos, and then I'm going out and trying them, and I'm always like thinking about it, and like that's a process I really enjoy.
Yeah, no, and like you've made a bunch of progress, I assume. Do you feel like you've improved?
I have improved. If you saw me skating, it wouldn't look impressive, but for me, it's like when I know what I was doing before and what I'm doing now, I'm like,
you can feel that.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah. Sure. Is it a steep learning curve, or?
I suppose, yeah. Yeah, the first couple of... That's a good question. No, which is steep means that you learn quickly at the beginning.
I guess like that there's a lot to learn in order to enter. You know what I mean?
I'd say so, yeah. I think it takes a long time before anything you do looks kind of interesting.
Oh, okay.
Like, things that are really hard to do look not very interesting.
That's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Like I heard some people say they can't even stand on the board, and I think that's an interesting, like, I wonder how steep that is to be able to like even ride it around a little bit.
Totally. I mean, again, like, I used a skateboard when I was like 11, and then I got it for Christmas. So I stopped when I was like 12 or whatever, then didn't skate again. And then I was like, I asked for one for Christmas because I was like, I want to get around on a skateboard. I thought it would be fun. It would be like easier to get around than in a bike. And literally the day I got it, I was like trying to stand on it. I was like, this is hard. So I spent like an hour just like balancing on it. And then the next like 5 days, I just skateboarded for like 3 hours each day.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And now I just try to do it an hour every day.
So, okay, what about learning a new skill? Like, what are you getting out of that exactly? Like abstract, like not just skateboarding, but is it like pleasurable or what's happening?
Yeah, I think it's like, I don't know. It's like the way that people like to solve puzzles. I mean, I don't know I think everybody inherently likes to learn stuff, right? Like, even anyone who's gotten into stand-up, like, right. I think stand-up is exactly this kind of skill. It's like, how do I get good at this? And then you go and you're bad, and you watch a bunch of people and you're like, I know how I'm going to do it better next time. And you do it again, and then you're still bad, and you're like, no, but I have a vision of how I can get better. Like, I need to work on this. I need to work on jokes. I need to work on that. I need to work on how I am on stage. So the next time you're on stage, you're like thinking. So like that whole process of getting good
I'm not thinking it.
You're not thinking that?
I'm up there mind blank.
Really? Just letting it come out.
Yeah, just sort of. I get kind of enraptured by the Lord.
Interesting. Do you really? No.
I'm thinking all that.
You are thinking all that stuff.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
But I am thinking. But I don't like. What am I trying to think? I guess I like learning new skills if I think they're going to be relevant. Like cooking is like something. I'm so fucking bad at cooking. Like, I'm dog shit at it. And so lately I've been like, if I learn how to cook slightly, I'll be able to like make better food. You know what I mean? I've been like studying like people make fun of white people for using salt and pepper. I'm like, what does salt do? Like,
you don't even use salt and pepper.
I don't know how much. Like, I'm like fucking making shit taste like ass.
Look at this white guy's food doesn't even have salt seasoning on it.
Dude, I make like peanut butter and jelly, and like I recently learned to use less peanut butter. Like, I'm like so fucking dumb.
It's true.
But with skateboarding, it's like I could see that being a useful skill for getting around. I could I could see the use of that, but it's also like. I guess I have quicker ways, and so like I've got a bike.
Right.
So the skateboard to me is like, I think it would still be fun if I had if I had my own bowl and shit in my backyard. It'd be a blast, but I don't.
I mean, I think relevant or useful is relative, right? Because it's like, I just have a dream of being okay at skateboarding. I think at this point I've started late enough that I'm just gonna be fine. But I'm like, I could be competent. And imagine if one day I could go to a skate park and do kind of cool stuff. I could impress some friend. I was like, check this out, I can do this. That for me, like, that's enough. And the process of it is really pleasurable. The process of like learning is good enough. And I know I have a limit. I don't know what that limit is, so I'm kind of curious to be like, well, how good could I get?
How good do you think you could get?
I don't think I could get that good. I mean, I have to be.
Why not? Why do you think you have a limit?
Well, because, I think skateboarding is like pretty hard on your body, and I'm 28, and so I don't really know how much longer
I'll be
I
honest,
can
that's one of the main reasons I don't skateboard. I'm afraid of getting hurt and stuff.
Oh, I've definitely gotten pretty hurt. I mean, nothing like, I haven't broken anything, but you kind of get fucked up for sure. And a part of me knows like someday I'm gonna get like pretty hurt. Like I'll be out for like a couple months, but I don't really think about it. I just try to like be good, and so I don't get hurt.
Oh, sure. Okay.
But
kind of tightrope walking in a way.
Totally. So I don't know. It's like anything, when I had this period with learning French. I was like really obsessed with learning French, and I got pretty good at it. And I was just like, my dream is that someday I'll go to a party and I'll be able to speak pretty good French. And I rarely get to do that. But it was what I wanted to do, and the process of learning was fun.
Do you know it well enough that like if somebody at a party, you overheard somebody go, "It's just sweet," you'd be like,
I could have a conversation. Yeah, I mean, when I spent time in France, I was like pretty good. Like people would compliment me on my French. Now I think it'd be a little more stiff. But
Omelette du fromage.
Yeah, correct. It's funny because you don't say it. You say omelette au fromage.
Fuck.
You don't say du fromage.
Damn,
that's
dude.
wrong.
Damn, dude.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep saying it. Omelette du fromage.
I'm not stopping you.
Rolls off the tongue easy.
It's true. It's true.
Omelette au fromage.
Mm-hmm.
Damn, dude.
Yeah, I know. Dexter got it wrong.
Whoa, is there a fucking French speaker here? Do you think Dexter got it wrong, or do you think they did it wrong, like they on purpose?
That's interesting. I don't know.
Because sometimes I'll see somebody like dunk on another tweet. I'm like, that person was joking.
Right, that was on purpose.
Yeah.
It's funny. I grew up in Argentina, and I watched Dexter in Spanish. I never watched Dexter in English.
Oh shit.
And
what's it sound like?
I can't remember, but he doesn't have an accent. In English, he has this like he talks like that.
Oh, just
do you know this?
Yeah.
But in Spanish, he doesn't have this accent. He just talks regular, and Didi, get out of my laboratory. But there's a whole episode where these guys bully him for having an accent, and he goes, "We don't like kids with accents," and none of the episode ever made sense to me. And he gets made, and then he like takes lessons to improve his accent, but it's like he doesn't have an accent in Spanish.
So. What? How do they handle that? They
don't. They go through with the episode, and they kind of clench their teeth and get through it.
What accent did he have? Like a German one? He was like meant to be like a weird like German like scientist or something.
I think it's like a little Eastern European, maybe.
Like Baby Einstein.
He's like Einstein. Yeah. Maybe.
Who would win in a fight?
Baby Einstein or Dexter?
Yeah.
I think Dexter.
He's got a whole lab. Baby Einstein's still just learning shapes and shit.
Baby Einstein's listening to Beethoven.
That's just a fucking baby, dude.
Yeah. Dexter's got mechs.
Who would win in a fight, a mech or a small child?
Mech.
That could depend on the child.
Yeah, you're right about that.
Is that true?
What?
Is that even slightly true?
What?
Like, okay, of all the children in the world,
do
you think any of them could take on a mech? Like could defeat a mech in a fight.
Yeah.
Like
absolutely.
they have the agility or whatever is needed to defeat.
You ever seen those little kids that they give them like steroids and they make them lift and they're like really buff by
one of those
4?
fucking kids?
Yeah, one of those kids could do it.
The like mech it's like auto targeting the kid, and then the kid is like and he does the thing in like an anime where he clones himself a bunch of times.
Yeah. He's like Gohan.
Yeah, fucking.
He's like Saiyan. Maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Depends on the mech too, If it's one of those like robot, those robot competitions?
Yeah.
Where it's like, they're not really like walking robots. They're just like little RV cars with like a hammer on top of them.
You have to like throw a basketball into a...
I mean, one of those could fuck a baby up though.
Are you talking about BattleBots or are you talking about the high school one?
I don't know. What's the difference?
The BattleBots is like the robots that fight each other, and then the high school competition's like a bunch of robots that like stack cups.
Oh no, I'm talking BattleBots.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I figured when you said hammer, I was like, oh, I'm thinking of the wrong one.
Yeah, the guy is just like a little. Anyways,
dude, if I made one of those, I'd give it a gun.
Bro, I know.
Fuck?
I know, just a handgun and it just shoots. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right about that. Why don't they think of it?
Talk about not learning anything.
I know.
Talk about not experiencing the pleasures of learning.
Yeah.
Hey, give your fucking robot a gun.
Give the robot a gun. You're going to win.
Dumbass.
Yeah. Next time, how do I get better next time? Yeah, give the robot M16. Yeah.
Maybe it's because like this type of doing this action is hard. They still have to give
Pulling
it, like,
the trigger?
They give it like a finger. It's hard to do these like series of actuators.
Yeah. Taking the safety off. What is it? Re-racking?
Kill shot.
Yeah. That's really funny.
And then it's like the jacked child.
A gun is a kind of robot.
Whoa.
It's a kind of machine.
That's cool.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know.
It's kind of sorry.
No. Please. Let's keep it going.
It's a simple machine.
It's a simple machine. It's right.
Guns don't kill people. Simple machines kill people.
That's right.
Ramps.
Did you ever play that pinball game called the what is it? It's like machine pinball or something. We had it at my school, and it was like all about simple machines, but it was a pinball game, and they let us play it because it was related to like a.
On the computer?
Yeah, and we would just play it all the time.
Not off the top of my head.
Yeah, this was like in 3rd grade, and I was like, you can play this video game because it's related to the simple machines unit we're doing.
Oh shit!
And kids would just fucking
go nuts.
Just go in, yeah.
The most formative educational video game for me was one about dinosaurs on a volcano.
What's the game?
No idea.
You can't remember?
Not a clue.
Bro, you put in like 120 hours.
I was
in
in
leveling
preschool.
up.
Yeah, every free time in preschool, I'd be like, "Can I play the dinosaur video game?"
Yeah.
And they would let me play. The herbivores would eat the grass on the volcano, trying to get to the top. But the predators would eat the herbivores.
And you could pick your class.
You could pick your class.
That rocks.
Yeah.
Damn.
You couldn't play as the ferns though.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
They had a Magic School Bus game. Anyway, it might have been one of the Magic School Bus games. It might have been like a mini game
within the
umbrella.
Magic School Bus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Drizzle is piloting. I don't know.
For sure.
I'm just trying
She's
to
piloting the school bus is a transformer into a mech.
Correct. Yeah. Bro,
It's like
Miss Drizzle could get it, bro.
What's that?
Miss Drizzle could get it.
Yo, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially in that mech.
Yeah, that's
She
true.
just shrinks herself down, goes into my urethra. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, that was always my dream, that the whole Magic School Bus would go up my urethra.
Or giantess. She could.
Step on me?
Did the bus ever grow?
I'm sure.
And then they grew too, right?
I mean, they must have.
Then they get out of the bus.
Get small stay small in the bus.
So you like learning?
I love to learn, dude. It's fun ass time. You should try. Just learn some. I don't know. It's just some shit that you're like. It would be so cool if I could do this.
I don't think I have too many of those things in my head though. You know what I mean?
You don't have a thing you're like, oh, it would be so fire if I could do this.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think, everything I see, I want to do. That's actually my problem, is that I want to do too many things.
You know, I'd say I take it back. I think about it for a second. It's like I think it'd be sick if I don't know, carpentry or like
bro,
if I could build a birdhouse or something.
That would yeah.
But I don't know. It's like that a lot of this stuff requires like materials and like money and effort and stuff. And so I like directing. Basically, what happens a lot of time is like instead of focusing on skateboarding or woodworking or whatever, I just redirect that energy into the areas I'm already focused on, like comedy or whatever, you know.
Totally. I mean, I try to do that too.
Podcasting.
Sometimes I'm like, oh, I want to do this new thing, but why don't I just reinvest in the thing I'm already doing?
Right.
Like, I already have a pretty good thing with animation. Why don't I just like try to imagine what if like all this artistic like energy went into the thing I can already do?
But then I guess the counter to it is that when you do skateboarding, or like I spent a bunch of time watching dinosaur fact videos on YouTube.
Really?
Shout out PBS Eons.
Is that right? You like dinosaurs?
Ton, yeah.
Really?
Absolutely love them. Yeah.
That's so funny because to me, I was like, that's like what, a 6-year-old interest.
That's a lot of my interests are that of like a child.
Really
For sure.
interesting.
Yeah. I've made the mistake on dates where I've been like, I'm like a 3rd grade boy.
That rocks.
And I have
honestly,
to like,
dinosaurs. That's cool. I haven't thought about dinosaurs in a long ass time.
I think about them all the time.
Well, now they are saying that they're feathered.
Yeah.
They're no longer scaly.
For sure. And I've got some jokes about that for sure.
What are the
In
jokes?
the pipeline. I'm working on some. I'm working on an idea about like in the movies, dinosaurs don't have feathers,
Right.
but like in real life they do. And in the movies, pillows have feathers, but in real life they don't. And what an amazing setup. Needs a punchline.
Oh, that's really cool.
Yeah.
I like that way of writing jokes. It's like you just find some interesting. See,
I love that. Great setup.
dude. I think
Great,
I wish
no
I was,
idea where I'm going with
I think I wish I was better at, and it's like I feel like I have a hard time writing jokes. Like I don't feel good at it. That's a thing that I spent my time trying to learn it, and sometimes I feel like sometimes I write a joke, I'm like, that's pretty good, but
I like your jokes a lot.
I appreciate that.
But why do you feel this like where's it coming from?
Where's what coming from?
Well, actually, I'll say one thing first just to tie that all together,
Please.
which is like I feel like the skateboarding or the dinosaur videos and stuff, I end up writing a lot of dinosaur jokes. You know what I mean? So learning in these other directions is how I'm writing comedy.
Well, for me,
You know what I
actually, my closest analog to that is that I try to work out almost every day and find some reason to like some way to work out. So for me, skateboarding, I was like, well, I kind of jog every day, so I'm just gonna replace that with skateboarding. So it fits a project that I already had. I also climb. I also like go to a climbing gym.
That's what's up.
So I try to like mix it up, and I'm like,
Ladies?
yeah, that's right. Hit me up. So I'm just like, the time I would spend running, I now spend skateboarding.
Oh, sure. So it's like that's also a health thing. Well, I mean, I fully understand why you do skateboarding, but I guess in terms of the joke writing element,
Yeah.
I'm saying like, do you feel like that comes back into play there, or like
what comes back into play?
does
like
learning other stuff help with joke writing?
No, I mean, no, not really. I'm a big believer that like everything is kind of siloed off.
Really? I can feel the complete opposite.
I mean, kind of. For a while, I was really into like clowning, and I was like taking a lot of clowning classes, and I was like, well, this is relevant to stand up in a clear way that I can see. Skateboarding is not relevant to my art in a clear way that I can see.
Not even like metaphoric. Like, do you take metaphor?
I suppose
because I've somebody else said a skateboarding metaphor before that I was like, oh, that's a good. Where like each trick is a joke in some capacity. You can look at the different.
I suppose
ways they're similar.
I guess
you don't think so.
I mean, it's useful in the sense that it reminds me of the pleasure of learning, and that like anything that looks complicated can be broken down into like a set of simple things that you can repeat over and over and become skilled at. Even something that looks like, oh, that's an innate strength, or that's like a sort of impossible thing to learn, like everything can be broken down into really concrete things.
I agree with that.
And so in that sense, I suppose, and then in the sense that, yeah, I could like extract metaphors from skateboarding that are applicable to other things, but I'm like, oh, it's so much more than that. Like, I don't just skateboard to get metaphors, because metaphors about learning are everywhere. I want to just get okay at skateboarding.
Oh, okay.
And have my body be
That's what you're
strong,
saying.
and have my body be like agile. Maybe that's a lame way to want to.
No, that's cool. No, I like
Yeah.
that. I mean, that's a neat that you have it. That it's like you're skateboarding for skateboarding's sake, which is maybe like more chill than being like, I'm gonna go skateboard so I can write better jokes. You know what I mean? Like, because that's, I don't know, maybe that's nuts of me to be doing that a lot. But
No,
I'm not.
I think that
but
makes sense.
I guess the thing is like, that is how I would feel if I was personally skateboarding, because it does. Whereas like dinosaurs and shit and like the other interests I have are just interesting to me, and I do just like them at a base level, and then they happen to feed into the comedy. Whereas if I was doing something like, I don't know, there's some stuff that is harder for me to care about, and so doing that is just for, let me see what that's like as a metaphor.
I kind of see. I mean, like I try to. Sometimes I'll go into like, I don't know, some interest in like reading about history or reading some philosophy, and it's like I think of that as being kind of connected. Where I'm like, well, the smarter I am, or the more things I know, the more that like feeds into like a general idea of how to be a writer or whatever, but I don't know if I'm like, oh, I'm reading philosophy to write jokes about it, or I'm reading this to write jokes about it. It's like, oh, this just helps me like understand the world, and so that's like connected.
Here's a thought.
Yeah.
The average audience member, they don't know, like I know everything they know. You know what I mean? And vice versa. Everybody knows there's some level of common information that's common knowledge. That's like whatever you learn right up until like the end of high school.
That's what everyone knows.
It's just what everyone knows. Plus like certain like stuff that's in the wider culture, like lightsabers, etc. And it's like, you know, so learning anything about philosophy is just like, it's only for that. It's like, you know, what am I going to make a joke on stage about? Nietzsche?
Right. It's like no one knows about that.
Nietzsche?
That's right. You're saying like, no one knows about that, so why would I confuse them? Right.
But at the same time, it's like, or you if you want to learn about that, that's on you. You know what I mean? Have fun.
Right.
That's just for yourself, or you know.
I guess I always have. It's not like, to me, being on stage is not the final. Like being a stand-up is not sort of the final like place where all the roads lead. Like when I do read, I'm like, well, someday I'll have a conversation about this and I'll be able to speak on it intelligently. Like that's to me the final road of that. Or someday I'll get to skate in front of someone and it'll look cool.
I feel that.
And so that's the final road of that. So it's like not all the roads lead to stand-up. Some things, when I was doing clowning or acting, I'm like, this will make me a better stand-up on stage. But not all of the things lead to stand-up.
I think I am thinking, I don't know if I'm thinking on similar terms, but like when I'm watching dinosaur videos, I want dinosaurs to come up in conversation. Yeah. So I can be like, kind of the thing you said before, where you were like, some of them had feathers. I'm like, yes, they did. Absolutely.
That's
and
funny.
I would love to go down that path. You know what I mean? And be like, and not all of them, by the way. People are like, now they're saying this. It's like, fucking, wow, I'm really.
Some of them really did have scales?
Of course. Yeah.
What do you mean, of course? I don't know.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I don't fucking know what any of them had.
Sorry, I mean to. I'm just saying that. I'm just getting defensive because I'm forgetting the name of a dinosaur.
Which one?
Oh my god, Ankylosaurus.
Okay.
So it's got 4 legs and like a big clubby tail.
No
need for feathers. It's just walking around on.
What do feathers do for you as an animal?
Like flight / like movement, like the ones that were more bird shaped are much more likely to have had feathers, and like especially the ancestors to birds and such. But like a triceratops, for example, would not have needed feathers.
Because it's a slow-moving animal that doesn't fly.
It's like it's just a ground-based. It's like a rhino, essentially. You know what I mean?
Dude, but
especially in the heat.
But the scales is totally made up.
No, scales are not made.
So some of them could have had scales.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look into this.
I'm so curious.
I don't want to speak out of my ass, but it just seems,
likely.
Seems likely that they had, because the bony armor plates is what a lot of them had. Which are essentially like huge scales as opposed to like, you know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like you can look at us anyway.
That's the number one thing everyone wants to know, whether dinosaurs had scales or not.
For sure. And it depends on, there's different dinosaurs. You know what I mean? It's like saying, do mammals have, fucking, I don't know, some other
fur or skin?
Because we don't have fur.
We don't have fur.
Like, yeah.
Right.
Well, we kind of do, but.
That's interesting.
The platypus fucking lays eggs, dude.
But with jokes, I don't know. I had my moment with jokes, and I hope I go back to it because I really wish I was more confident in my joke writing ability, or at least stand-up joke writing. I think I can write jokes for my own stuff, and I know what a joke looks like, and I know how to like the process for coming up with a good joke. I think I just have never felt like I really like hit it with writing stand-up, which is funny because stand-up is like quite formulaic. There's only like 3 kinds of jokes in stand-up is my theory.
Yeah, I want to go down 2 paths here. And I forget what the first one is, so explain the 3 types.
Okay, this is my theory about the 3 types of jokes. And it could be 4, but there's like generally like, there's misdirection, where I make you think I'm going one way and then I'm going another. There's like a mapping joke, where I go, this thing is like if this other thing. So I compare these 2 things. And then there's a 3rd kind, which is like a funny interpretation of like naming something in a way that's really funny. So what's like a good example of that?
I know what you mean, like a reframe.
Yeah, you reframe something as which is similar to the mapping one, but it's different.
Yeah, for sure. I agree, but I think there's a whole bunch of other types though, like
what?
hyperbole, for example.
That's true.
There's like three good types. You know what I mean? But I also think you're absolutely correct. In that there's like certain types.
Yeah, and then there's like
they break down further.
And then there's like formats where it's like one-liners. There's like the bit where you have a premise and you do it 3 times, and then 2 tags, and then you have a story, which is essentially like a bunch of jokes structured by like a narrative.
No,
like,
for sure. I mean, I don't mean to interrupt them.
No, please.
But you're absolutely
you probably
right.
know way more than me about this.
Like composition of a set, but then individual jokes. Because like when you're on stage, you're not really doing jokes. I've noticed you do a lot more clowning stuff.
I've been trying to do a little more jokes, but yeah, for a while I was like not really doing jokes. Now I'm trying to go back into doing jokes.
Hell yeah.
Not
dude.
one-liners, but just like bits that are like a little more concrete, you know?
Yeah, definitely. But I'd love to see that. I haven't really seen you on stage lately.
No, I did yesterday. I did a set at the Ladies Who Ranch.
I didn't come out. I was fucking too tired.
That's okay. I was so tired.
Fucking what's the thing? Like with a mapping, I think of that as like the metaphors, for example. But I think there's different ways to map where you can map from like A to B, or you can map like A and B onto C, or you do like there's like also combination stuff. I don't know. Or like there's stuff with like pattern building. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
There's a lot of different types of
You're
jokes,
right about that. Yeah, another one that I can think of is like it's kind of like that thing you said about like in the dinosaurs or the dinosaurs in the movies don't have feathers, but in real life they had feathers, and pillows in the movies have feathers, but in real life they don't. And
back and forth pattern building.
Yeah, or like I would call that like if this is true, you know, like if A then B. That's like another kind of joke where it's like
it's A, B, negative A, negative B.
Right.
And then I would go somewhere with it, but I don't know exactly what I'm doing.
Yeah. So that's all just to say that like there's some it's like frustrating for me because like maybe that's like the way to not be funny is to be able to name all those things. Like, oh yeah, you're never gonna write a funny joke if you know all that shit. But I'm like, bro,
I disagree. Yeah.
Huh? You think that knowing that stuff makes you a better joke writer?
Right. I'm thinking about all that stuff.
Yeah,
constantly. Yeah.
No, I'm just like it's frustrating for me because I find that like I wish I was a better joke writer, and I'm like, and I know all this shit. Like I know what a joke looks like. I've heard enough stand up that I know what a good set looks like, and then I'll write something, and I'm like, why did I write that shit? Like, doesn't look like stand-up. I know what stand-up looks like. Just write something that looks like, you know. So it's like a gap between what I know I should be doing and how I'm like executing it.
What do you think? When you write something that doesn't look like stand-up, what does it look like?
I don't know. Well, you know, sometimes it's like a clowny thing where I'm like, oh, this will be really funny if I do this kind of abstract thing, and then no one laughs, and I'm like, of course no one laughed because it doesn't make sense because it's like funny in my head or whatever. I think it's good to be like spontaneous and like abstract on stage, but you need to like ground it a little bit. You need like a little bit of something people get so that and you do this. You have really strong jokes and then you do weird shit where you dance. But it's like if you were just dancing, it wouldn't be funny. But because you have the good jokes, then the like abstract stuff is even more interesting. But you need to be able to go back and forth between them.
I appreciate that. I think I totally agree. And like sometimes like if you do some weird stuff, it's like I was talking about this on the last episode with Sasha. We were kind of saying like this trust building stuff and doing an abstract joke. Maybe some people will get it, but not everybody will be with you immediately.
Right.
But if you get the crowd with you with jokes initially, and then you do abstract stuff, they're like so much more willing to like hook into it.
Totally. Right, because they know you're taking them somewhere. They trust you to take them somewhere.
Right.
I thought of another kind of joke, which I think is like a real Brooklyn alt thing.
Yeah.
And I call it like noun comedy. And that word has been used to describe other things, but it's the kind of thing. It's a little bit, can I name names of people who I think do it?
Is it impolite or is
I don't think it's impolite. No, I think it's just a description of how their comedy works.
Okay, sure.
Like, I think Dan Licata does it. I think Rachel Colley kind of does it, where the idea is like, I'm going to...
No impoliteness.
Yeah. No, I'm not impolite about it. But it's like, the idea is like, I'm walking you through like a funny image. Like, Dan Licata has this joke where I'm like, or no, is this Conor O'Malley? But I know Conor O'Malley does it too, but which one of them has the joke about like, that their two sons are fighting over a fleshlight?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't heard that
I
one.
think that might be Conor O'Malley actually. But anyways, it doesn't matter because they both do it. But the joke is like my two twins were fighting over the fleshlight and I was like wrestling with them or something. And it's like what's funny about that is like a funny image. There's no misdirection. It's simply like a funny image and then you're like reminded of the fleshlight or like Rachel Colley does it where she's like, "Oh, I like was like Seinfeld was eating my pussy or whatever." And it's like it's funny to imagine Seinfeld doing that, or she'll be like, "I met Jeff Bezos' wife and like we had a threesome," and it's like naming things that it's like, "Oh, that's true. That's a thing that I remember that's funny," and it's like building out an image, and there's nothing like a misdirection or
so
like
by noun you kind of mean like visualization, like
I mean things that you know about,
like referential?
sort of references, but it's
Okay.
not. Yeah, it's kind of reference humor, but it's also about just like these are funny nouns. These are funny things to combine into like a world.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Is
Yeah,
that
for
impolite?
sure.
We can cut it out if that's
No.
impolite.
I don't think so. I don't think you're not saying that that's a bad thing. You're saying
No.
that's a
I
type.
think it's like a type of.
I'll tell you a bad type, and then let's check the time, and then we can maybe fucking. Oh yeah, okay. So we're gonna folks. Felipe is gonna be my first 2-part guest. We're gonna do this episode. It's gonna be out on all the normal places, and then the second half is gonna be on Patreon. I just started a fucking Patreon.
And I'm gonna be impolite on the
I'm so
Patreon
sorry.
episode.
I'm so sorry that I'm trying to monetize my life.
Gotta get your back.
Dude, you don't make enough money doing stand-up. You gotta do a Patreon. Oh, but here's the catch with the Patreon. I will be paying the guests half the money. That's the trick.
That's very kind.
And it's gonna be based on what I'm making at the end of the month. So that if it goes from like it's starting at 0, so Felipe is not gonna get any money if I do it based on currently.
Right.
But at the end of the month, if it's $10, he'll be getting $5 divided by however many guests I have.
I think that's the way to do it. And hey, even the gesture is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
But if it gets big, man, I would love a little source of income.
I'll give you $20.
Bro, if I got $20 in a month,
I might do a flat rate of $20.
in 2 months I can buy like a little jacket or something. You know what I'm saying? And it's like that's my jacket money.
Well, you're gonna it's not gonna get half of the. You're gonna get half of all the recurring income forever. You get half of that month's income. Should I do all the money forever?
What do you mean? Oh, just the month. You're right. Yes, it says just the month of the episode that I was on.
Damn, dude.
Bro, up to you. Honestly, I don't care. I think it's a nice gesture, but either way, you don't even have to pay me.
Damn, dude. If I divide it by every guest I have on ever, then you're gonna get less and less money over time.
Yeah, but if you're getting more and more listeners over time,
You're gonna get $20. I'll think about it. Damn, dude. Felipe was trying to buy a jacket.
I'm trying to buy a jacket with this money, bro.
Wait, let me close on this idea.
Please.
Just to finish out this piece for the live bit. Some people do what me and a friend were calling sentence comedy, where it's like you do a sentence and then halfway through you just do it's misdirect stuff, but just with like language, where like the first half of the sentence is one thing and then the second half of the sentence is like, actually it makes you realize, oh, it's actually been their mom the whole time or whatever. You know what I mean?
That to me is misdirection.
Yeah, but there's misdirection that isn't just how do I explain it?
It's like the punchline is in the second sentence rather than being in the same.
It's the same. It's like I think Amy Schumer has one where she goes, I love it when the man pays for sex. Like it's just a linguistic. It's misdirection, but it's linguistic.
I
You know
see.
what I mean?
That's interesting. To me, that's like a subset of misdirection.
It is
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah, I see
But
what
it
you
just
mean,
like linguistic stuff. I find I don't like as much as concept stuff, where like trying to think of like a misdirection.
Well,
conceptually.
take my wife, please.
That's a linguistic one.
Is a sentence.
But I'm thinking like Emo Phillips has some where it's like I think he was like his dog was like drinking out of the toilet bowl water, which was like annoying to him because he was trying to read the newspaper on it or something. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
It's funny. It's not just a sentence misdirect. It's like he's actually changing the idea.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
But
Interesting.
anyway, yeah, I guess we'll have to get more in depth on this in part 2, which will be behind Patreon. All right. Bye.